So, morning guys, my name's Adam. I'm from the Australian Better Families Party and we're just out at the market getting people's opinion on their understanding of domestic violence. So, my experience with policing of domestic violence incidents is fairly widespread. I did 7 years in the police service. Have you experienced, either of you two experienced domestic violence in your lives?
Well, I actually grew up in family domestic violence.
Okay. Have you experienced any form of domestic violence in your life? No.
I know about the domestic violence helplines, the women's shelters, and of course, like there's a couple of more men's shelters coming out now because there's also violence against men.
I work at a homeless service over at South Brisbane, and most of the people who actually come in are former victims of domestic violence, especially men.
What if I just ask you a couple of questions about domestic violence? So in your opinion, if we were to support boys and men through domestic violence, that would help break the cycle right at the start of the issue?
My gut feel, yes, 100%.
One thing I can say is there's a possibility that out on the front line, if you were to attend a domestic violence incident where the male was the victim, it is possible for the police to contact a supervisor and have that job recategorised as a disturbance rather than a domestic violence incident. Do you think it's swayed between one gender or another, or it's a kind of 100% coverage?
I've heard of people on both sides of the gender line experiencing it. I don't think it's just men doing it to women and vice versa. I think it's
Have pretty much my family separated due to false accusations of domestic violence. Okay. So I got to live with that every day.
There's a lot of stigma. Men don't get hit was the type of thing, but of course we all know that's not the case now.
Are you aware that there's services out there from the federal government for people like yourself?
I guess I knew that I was aware of it, but at that time I wasn't thinking of that.
Have you had any experience with domestic violence yourself?
Yeah, just recently actually. Yeah.
While you were in school, did you get any education or advice about services for guys in domestic violence, or anything about domestic violence at all?
No, a lot of people seem to kind of perpetrate it as a male-only thing, but yes, it can be a female thing.
Did you go and see the police, or did you take some steps yourself?
I mean, my confidence just went. I got anxious and I got panic attacks. I just felt really intimidated. So I really didn't do anything. I just took it.
A lot of people don't realise that men involved, get domestic.
Well, I went to an all-girls school, so it was definitely something that we were taught about. So of course, with all other sorts of prevention and support groups, it was something that we were taught, just kind of safety, taking care of yourselves, learning to be independent and everything. So if you're ever in a bad situation, we knew that there were resources to help us get out of it.
So you're aware that males can also be victims of domestic violence?
Yep. And a friend of mine who's just recently gone through something.
Would you be able to name a service that's for male domestic violence victims in Australia?
No, exactly.
No, you can't?
Yeah.
Where do you actually start? I guess this is what this all is about.
Yeah. We start by getting us into the Senate and the House of Reps, and then we take it on ourselves.
I've had very little kind of information given to me about kind of men's shelters, men's domestic violence. They kind of just seem to ignore that fact in a lot of schools.
Domestic violence statistics in Queensland are being manipulated, and this is how it's done out on the street. So if a police crew head to a domestic violence incident at a house and it's clear to them that the male may have been the victim, what could be done is that they will contact the supervisor on the street, which is a senior sergeant or above, and they will have that job reclassified to a disturbance. So they may have received the job as a domestic violence incident, they classify it as a disturbance, and then that job is finalised as a disturbance, and we're missing that statistic that the male was involved in domestic violence and thus is a victim of that incident.